Do, 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 do. Oh, Rabbi Gross.
Are we live? I love to
What?
ask that question. I
What?
love
Why would
asking that
you?
question.
I, when else do you get a greeting like that? Like Rabbi Gross.
I
If you
look
weren't
forward.
live,
I look forward to it every week.
I'm so glad because I look forward to it every week as well. Has this been a it's been a good week for you? What's been going on?
Whew, what has been going on? It just seems it does. I think everybody out there can relate. That every day blends into the next. It's either every day is Shabbos or every day is the work week. It doesn't really seem to have
Yeah,
any separation.
it's either
But
Saturday or Tuesday.
yeah, but that said, everybody's healthy. Everybody for the most part is pretty happy, and that's the best that we can ask for right now. So that's good.
It's very, very true. You got in my head a little bit last week
Ooh,
when we
how?
talk about the when we talked about the dust.
Oh,
Where we that I've been been feeling like I have the dust
have you been
here.
feeling it?
I feel a little bit here, a little
Yeah,
bit here, but I think we're past the dust. I think we are. It was kind of a big week for us, you know.
yeah. Very big week. That
Very
part
big week.
for HCRJ, huge week. We launched a number of things that have been, I hope, impactful and inviting.
I hope that they have been seen as a as we intended them to be seen, which was that we really,
We care.
really get what is going on in the world, and we really get what our folks are going through, and we want them to be sure that we know. We want to be sure that they know that we get it.
And we want to know
Uh huh.
or make sure that they know that we want to know what they know.
Mm-hmm.
So both things are happening at the same time.
Yeah, it's like if you know something that we don't know, how
We
are
want to know.
we want to know, and how are we supposed to know if you don't share what you know?
That's right. And that is just what this week has been all about. We're so
Totally.
mysterious, aren't we?
We are. We should let's just get it out there. Let's first of all, we'll leave
Yeah,
them hanging cliffhanger. We have some friends with us today. We have Miss Carol's with us, who we really miss.
we do.
Miss Barbara says hello, friends. Maria May says hello, hello. Mike Kahn says happy Wednesday. Miss Mallory says hello, HCRJ friends, and to all of you, we say
Hello.
hello. So we should say this week marked the launch of two specific things.
Yeah.
One is the year of chesed or kindness, which we
Yes.
are infusing as the value that we hold to be exceptionally important at this time. Kindness, like you and I are kind to each other all the time, but it shouldn't
Yes.
stop there, should it?
It should not stop there. It should be
No.
part of the fabric of everything that we do individually and collectively. And we're going to weave that into our programs, into our religious school, into our messages from either the pulpit or messages that we receive via email. We're going to, it's reflected in how we're approaching religious school and how we engage each other. I'm very excited about this.
Very excited. I'm also extremely excited. We should also say, check your email because we sent out the survey of surveys, the greatest
Yes.
survey in the history of asking people questions. Am I right or am I right?
I think you're right. And what I love about this survey, compared to many surveys that I have to take, it's short and to the point. I was done and I did it on my phone and it took maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes,
2 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes
Yeah.
would be pushing it. It
And
gets
I'm a
to the
slow reader.
it gets to the heart of what we want to know quickly. So we should say it's also a holiday today, which has just been pointed out. I point over here because that's where the other computer is. But there's a
Yes.
holiday. Megan Hirsch points out that it's Happy Canada Day. So
Oh. Oh, Canada. That's all I know.
that's all you know.
That's the whole song, I think.
I think that's it. Just
But I
those
think
two
I
words.
honored it. We
and
honored it by mentioning
yeah,
Canada.
I think
That's to the
happy
north,
Canada Day
right? Canada's directly north
from where
of
we are. Yeah,
Texas.
from where
Yeah.
we are. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, so Rabbi Gross, what do you think about where I am right now? Pretty
Ooh,
sweet, huh?
it is really nice. That barn is really a nice barn.
Do you notice what color it is?
It's a green barn.
Mm-hmm.
Are you at green?
I am
Virtually.
virtually a green. As you can see on the top, this is my favorite part of it. I think this is just the most clever. But at the top of it, you can see the silhouette of a fiddler on
On the
the roof.
roof. Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
surprise,
that
surprise.
was radically wild.
Who saw
Uh,
that coming?
I
Rabbi
did not.
Gross, why would I, why would we be thinking about a barn or
You
a
know,
farm now?
I'm wondering that maybe there's something in that barn that helps us think about our Torah portion this week.
Should we go inside and
Yeah,
see?
would you show me what's in the barn?
Yeah, hold on. Let me go into the barn. Okay, I'll open the door and oh, we're
No!
in the barn.
Oh, watch out! There's a heifer's nose in your
There's a
hair.
this is a very friendly heifer who it's actually Herman the heifer and
Well,
Herman
it's got
is
to. It looks like a female. A heifer, and technically is female, so it's
oh yeah
probably
yeah well I knew
Henrietta
that
heifer.
I figured that we call him her Herman but it's actually Herman Sherman.
Henrietta.
Yeah,
Henrietta.
yeah, exactly.
Well, whatever her name may be, you just know that you are sitting beneath the presence of a very rare beast.
I
They
am.
don't exist in the world anymore, but the red heifer is one of the most important animals for the priesthood discussed in the Torah.
Get
In
out of here.
fact,
A red heifer?
a red heifer, it plays a central role in our faith and a very central role to the priests of of temple times. And in our Torah portion this week, it explains exactly why that red heifer is so important. It says that there is a ritual that is served exclusively by this beautiful red, blemish free cow. Now, you know what? That heifer there is probably not 100% kosher because I'm looking at her and
Mm-hmm.
I see a little bit of white around her nose. Um, and it needs to be 100% red. But she's very, very close.
Oh, you can tell Sherman Herman that.
Yeah, I know. She's not quite perfect. But according to God, the Israelites are to bring a red heifer, a red cow without blemish, to the temple and give it to Eleazar the priest. And that red heifer is to be taken outside of the camp, slaughtered in the presence of the priest, and a man who is pure shall gather up the burnt ashes of this poor Sherman Herman, gather up the ashes of the red heifer after it has been sacrificed, and deposit it outside the camp in a pure place to be kept uh, for something called the waters of lustration.
The waters of Lestrade aren't what?
I know it's a strange thing, but let's sum this up. The red heifer's role in our society in ancient times was to be slaughtered and then turned into ash, and those ashes were to be made basically into holy soap.
Holy soap!
Holy soap, Mike!
I, I can't believe it.
Yep. And this holy soap basically functioned as followed. The priests were not pure if they had been in contact with the dead. And therefore, they need to be purified. And the only way they could be purified for the rituals that they performed as priests was to bathe in the waters of lustration, the waters that were made from this holy soap.
So cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know,
Ve-
the That's I didn't know that about the soap and the cleanliness. Important lesson right now because hand hygiene
Mm.
off the charts important. Uh-huh.
Imagine if we had for this epidemic soap that wasn't like Purell, but
Hmm.
was Sherman Herman soap. If we had red heifer soap,
Oh,
right? We would be,
do you think that would be a hot seller?
I don't know, but if it really did purify you of everything, it has to work on COVID.
Yeah, it must.
It must.
Sid Barron says if you want more info on this, you should read the Yiddish Policemen's Union, which I will honestly say is sitting on my bookshelf and I have never touched. However, now I'm intrigued.
I'm intrigued. Will you read it and tell me what it is about? Because I don't
Yeah.
have any time.
Well, maybe what we should do is we should read it together. No, never mind.
Together.
I'll read it. We'll
You want to
figure it
read
out.
it?
It'll be
Would you
great.
like to read it to me?
I'll read it. I was gonna say that, and I was like, "Well, that would be
It's a little
weird."
weird. Yeah.
Holy soap, would that be
Holy soap,
weird?
that's bizarre. Thank you, Sid.
That
Ah,
well, so I was thinking that when I'm just gonna go back outside the barn for a second. I'm gonna
okay.
go back outside and say bye to Sherman Herman. So I'm back outside at my farm, and there's like a lot of really tall grass, like
Ooh,
really tall, and you gotta be careful because sometimes
in
you're
the
walking
grass.
around, and if you don't look where you're stepping, you might be stepping in someone's territory. You know
Yeah,
where I'm
I
going
know
with this?
exactly what you mean. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're
Yeah.
saying. And here's the thing. Oh, that's a green serpent,
Yeah. Well,
perhaps?
yeah, perhaps.
Well, that's kind of scary. Well, kind
A
of
little,
cute too. I
little
don't know if
cute.
I'd be scared. Is that a worm or is that
No, I think it's if one were to Google search cartoon serpent, this might come up. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, Mike, because our Torah portion not only has this odd passage, and maybe Sid has another book for this other odd passage
Oh,
that
Sid,
is
you're
in
up.
our. She is the resource for all things strange in the Torah. This next thing is what I think is one of the most unusual passages in the entire Torah itself. Because in punishment, if you remember last week when we were talking about the Torah portion, there was this rebellion, the Korach of Korach. And in punishment for the rebellion, God uh, came to realize something. And that is that the Israelites had become very complacent and they had become unappreciative of the freedoms that they were afforded as they were liberated from slavery in Egypt and put into the wilderness. And so, according to the story, these snakes that God puts a bunch of snakes into the camps. That's awful, right?
Check,
So
please.
at the end of last week's Torah portion, God puts these snakes into the camps as a form of punishment to say, everybody's like, oh my God. That's what he wanted them to say. Oh my God, to turn themselves toward God for help and faith. And I'm making light of it. But the truth is that they were trying to generate a sense of awe and fear and remind the Israelites that they were really in dangerous territory in the wilderness unless they did something. So, in response to these snakes that are now in the wilderness, in our portion in Numbers 21, we read, like I said, one of the strangest portions in the whole Torah. And that is God instructs Moses to build a giant copper serpent and put this giant copper serpent at the front of the camp so that when the people get bit by these venomous snakes out of punishment for their, you know, kind of disloyal thoughts, um, the copper serpent would heal them.
Really?
It is just so weird. I mean, it's just out of nowhere. I mean, I thought that, idols were something that we were not supposed to look at. We were punished for building a golden calf, and here Moses is instructed to build a copper serpent.
So
It's
weird.
it is very very strange, and so I share these two very odd stories in the Torah: holy soap and copper serpents. Why? Because this week we are reminded as a people in the United States through, I don't think it's equally as odd a ritual, but it's a ritual that we do nonetheless. We shoot rockets in the air that explode and create really beautiful fireworks. It's just magnificent. And that's to remind us and bring us together as a community around the value of our freedom, around the value of our country, and about being American. We gather for picnics and we shoot rockets in the air. Um, what's my point? My point is that human beings, whether it was 5,000 years ago in the wilderness or today in our country, need things that bring us together in faith and in hope and to wake us up to to what we value. And so just like the serpent, which reminds the Israelites, hopefully according to God, of these are times where you need healing. These are times when you need to be together as a people, against the forces of venomous snakes. It's like snakes on a plane. Oh, or whether it's the red heifer soap, the holy soap of the
Holy.
priesthood that was a central piece to the functioning of a system that was structured around sacrifices, or today, the use of yet another symbol or another tool to bring us together to appreciate our values, and that is the fireworks on the 4th of July or the flag that we all share. All of these are symbolic, they're symbols to help us and remind us of our values as a people, as a faith, as a history, as a heritage. It's
Yeah.
I always find these teachings challenging, but whenever they fall near the 4th of July, it just serves as a reminder that we haven't changed that much as human beings.
Uh, we we are we are 100% human. That is what we are. Well, thank you for sharing that, Rabbi Gross. I'm going to go back to HCRJ so that we can make this. Oh, I'm backwards. Let me go back to
Oh, you're
JRCH.
not backwards on
I'm not
us. It's the
backwards to you. Oh,
strangest
okay. It's
thing.
just me.
It's the strangest thing. I have that too. Like when you look at it on your own screen, it
Uh
looks
huh.
backwards, but for us, it's forward.
So we should celebrate not just the 4th of July, but celebrate that we have some really amazing people with us today. We should also say hi to Melissa, or sorry, I should say Special Agent W. Olfson.
Olfson.
Drew Beckelman is with us. Hey, Drew, what's
Hey, Drew.
happening? Miss Renee is with us. Renee Carroll. Nancy Johnson says hi, guys, and to
Hel-
Nancy we say hey.
Hey.
And Missy Bernosky is in the virtual house.
All right.
So nice to see
And
you.
I'll share one more thing with you, Mike. That we talk about symbols, we talk about action. There is something happening right now, today and tomorrow for sure, and then it's the real thing next week. Early voting.
Ah,
It's time to vote.
I did
And if
it.
it's not just a symbol there, it's an expression of what needs to be done in our country, and that is to take a voice and voice your opinion and participate in our beautiful democracy.
I went
So,
today.
in fact, right after this live at 5, Becky and I are getting in the car and we're going to vote.
Awesome. I went to
So,
Baylands Community Center today and I exercised my right to vote. It's very cool. They hand you a little sanitizer packet thing and they hand you a little blue like balloon that you put over your finger so you can turn the thing. It felt very safe, very well thought out. Everybody should go and everybody should vote. In the meantime, Rabbi Gross, I know that you know this very well because we had a very small visitor. You know that the small people in my house,
are
it's about
hungry.
time for them to be fed before they truly turn into the gremlins that they want to be. So I'll sing the blessing for washing hands with the holy soap.
Holy
And then,
soap.
would you please be so kind as to lead us in the motzi?
Boy, what are you having for dinner?
Oh, I'm really pumped. It's a simple dinner. I'm making some salmon. Haven't
Mm,
decided if I'm gonna do it in the cast iron or on the grill. I know these are really
cast
big
iron.
problems for people. Big,
Cast
big
iron.
cast
Yeah.
iron, likely,
Yeah.
likely. And I'm gonna make some shishito peppers, which I
Ooh.
think
Oh,
they're sneaky. They're delicious,
they
and
are, but
sometimes they're spicy.
they are. But you know what? Now you have a change of strategy. You need your cast iron for your shishito peppers. Now you got to put your fish on the grill.
Okay, well, there
Yeah.
we have it, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks to Rabbi Gross. You can always count on him for some very well thought out cooking advice and advice for pretty much everything else, too.
Oh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim al netilat yadayim. Wash your hands. Now, Rabbi Gross, before you lead us in the motzi, what are you having for dinner?
All right. Mine is a little more complicated.
Uh-huh. Go
Now we
on.
are we are having cauliflower tikka masala that we made last night, and it sat overnight in our refrigerator, and it's just perfectly spiced at this point. Our house, unfortunately, smells like an Indian restaurant, but hopefully that will pass with time.
Doesn't sound bad to me. Doesn't sound bad at all. All right, let's take it home with the motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Look for Sharing Shabbat on Friday, Welcoming
Ha-
Shabbat Friday evening. Go to hcrj.org/virtual programs, I think, for all of our virtual offerings. Rabbi Gross,
Shabbat
holy,
Shalom on Friday, but happy 4th of July on Saturday.
happy 4th of July, holy soap.
Soap.